welcome back to my channel. This was the best I could do for trying to do black and orange for Halloween and then like a purpley and orange. I'm trying to be festive, okay? I really need to invest in some more all-out costumes and props and stuff for the holidays. But it's Thursday, meaning it's time for students to tell us, oh, we can't make this stuff up. Listen, I know kids don't get paid to go to school, but there are some things that kids deal with when they're at school, whether it be from other classmates or teachers that maybe shouldn't be there or other crazy parents that are impacting their learning. Sometimes they see some wild stuff, guys. Just because they're kids doesn't mean they're exempt from that. We should be listening to children when they're trying to tell us something's wrong. So I asked my Facebook and Instagram followers, hey, whether you are a student or were a student, what are some of the craziest things you experienced while you were in school? And here are 15 of their answers. Side note, I've done a similar video to this already. I'm gonna put a link wherever the link goes on the screen. So consider this a part 2, because a lot of kids have been asking for it. I told my teacher I was about to faint and I really needed to go see the nurse. She told me that I was probably faking and just looking for the attention. Well, lo and behold, after a couple minutes, I fainted. When I woke up, she yelled at me for not telling her I was serious.
But I don't feel like it's completely my fault.
Girl, you didn't believe her the first time. I know. Some of these kids make up crazy stuff because they just want to go walk around. But when it comes to something as serious as that, is it really worth taking the chance? I know admin's gonna get on you if your kid is just wandering the halls for no reason, but what do you think will bring more of a consequence? Kid lying to you and just walking around the hallways for 10-15 minutes till someone finds them, or kid fainting in class because you thought they were lying and wouldn't let them go to the nurse? I was struggling in class, so my parents decided to schedule a conference with my teacher. She actually told them, so Kyle's really struggling with the material, but I'm a very busy woman, okay? I've got 30 students and I don't have time to help the 3 that don't understand the material, okay? So they're gonna have to figure it out and do better. I ended up failing that class and no, I wasn't punished for the F. What do you mean you can't help the 3 kids that don't understand? That's your job! Have an objective for the day and check for understanding and reteach things that need to be retaught or clarifying questions, things like that.
Well, there's only 3 kids that don't get it.
So answer their questions. When I taught, we used to have this thing called Smart Lunch. Loved that. Everyone had lunch at the same time and kids could go to whatever classes they needed help with. I don't know if that's something that happens all over the place. Some of the schools I worked at had it, some of the schools didn't. Oh, it was so helpful for kids who needed help. But besides the point, no, that's your job. You help the kids who need help, especially if they're looking for help and they're asking questions. If their parents are like, hey, our kid doesn't know what they're doing, they need additional help. What do you mean? Nope, sorry, can't help them. That doesn't make any sense. We had a teacher who, whenever he had a yard sale at home, he would bring all the remaining items to school the next day. He was just trying to make a quick buck off all the students, trying to convince them that they desperately needed to buy his junk.
Wow, a yard sale!
Is that even legal? Can you sell things to students? I would ask our friendly neighborhood lawyer, but he is at work right now. And I know as a kid or a parent, you hear that and you're like, what a weirdo, that's crazy. I'm not even surprised. Teachers don't make enough money. We had a teacher in high school who actually said to us, this generation is so soft with your mental illnesses. I mean, we all know depression's a choice, okay? You guys are just desperate for the attention from it. Other kids tried bringing up scientific facts that would refute his statement, but he just kept interrupting them. Guys, I'm college educated, okay? So when you guys get to be my age, you'll learn how stupid you sound.
What is okay, boomer?
Thank you.
I swear, there's like an age cutoff that once a majority of those people retire, I'm not gonna say all because we don't do definitive statements and things like that here, it'll be a little bit more welcoming for kids and younger teachers alike. Again, not all of them. There are some wonderful Gertrudes out there who are genuinely loving and caring and they just want to make us cookies all day and bring them to school and share them with the kids. But some of the Susans out there, how many years you got left? Our substitute teacher once told us she was from Atlantis. Like, under the sea, Forgotten City, Atlantis. We were in high school and she had this whole backstory and everything. It was so odd and she never broke character, not once, and we saw her multiple times through the year. I can't decide if I love how cute that is or if I'm weirded out. I can't decide because I know they're older, but like imagination. I'm sure there are things that I thought was really cute that I did with my high schoolers that they went home and they're like, wow, Miss Rogers is so cringy. I want to know what you guys think. Is that cute or is that weird? Maybe some of y'all will be able to convince me one way or the other. Our high school teacher had severe IBS and would always tell us about it vividly. Lady, I really don't want to know about your poop problems.
Oh, that's nasty.
Why? That's not something you would tell your colleagues or your boss about. Why would you tell these kids? I don't want to know about this lady's poop problems. I can't imagine what goes through someone's mind like that.
I'm having trouble bonding with my students. My poop.
I thought we finally escaped the poop stories. I thought we finally escaped. Why are so many adults infatuated with poop and talking to people about poop and messing with poop? I don't understand. I'm sweating. I'm just so anxious about all of these series. Every episode, or just about every episode, having something to do with adults just obsessed with poop. Why? Why does this always happen? My high school teacher had a weird flex the other day. This young generation, man. I mean, where's the creativity? Y'all are so boring. I mean, when I was y'all's age, we used to capture squirrels in these little cages with peanut butter, spray them all these random colors, and just watch people's reactions when we released them into the wild. Can you imagine people's face when they saw a neon green squirrel running around?
Squirrel.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the kid on that one. When is animal cruelty ever something to flex about? Who does something like that? And to think that he genuinely was talking like,
Oh, kids need to be more like me when I was a kid. They should be abusing animals. Y'all are so lame. You didn't abuse animals like me.
our classroom in our trailer was 80 degrees, and I'm not exaggerating. The thermostat literally read 80 degrees. Our parents tried calling and emailing the district, but no one came to fix it. Our poor teacher literally passed out from the heat one day, and they still never came to fix anything.
I'm baking like a toasted cheeser. It's so hot here.
Welcome to public education. Literally the same thing happened to me. I was in a pod, and for those of you that don't know what a pod is, it's like a mini building that's just big enough to have 6 to 8 classrooms in it. Each one gets their own thermostat, and my thermostat also jammed. Mine actually went up to 85 degrees, and no one came to fix it, ever. Quite literally, the next year, it was deemed as unsafe for people to be in, and it was turned into like a storage room. And they had me sitting there all year. I'm in middle school, and a girl in my class raised her hand and asked, "Miss, can I go to the bathroom?" "No, can't you see I'm in the middle of teaching? You can hold it a second." "Okay."
20 minutes later.
"Miss, now can I go to the bathroom? It's really an emergency." "No, I already told you no. You cannot go to the bathroom. I'm in the middle of teaching. You can wait." The girl has to go to the bathroom another 4 or 5 times over the next half an hour, when all of a sudden we just heard her shriek in the back of the room. "Did you just pee yourself? Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Why didn't you tell me it was an emergency, you irresponsible girl?" The poor girl was humiliated. The teacher was literally chastising her about peeing in front of everyone, and then made her go get paper towels and clean it up herself. Does she still work there? I'm having trouble finding words for this story, because I'm just, what? That poor girl! Oh my gosh! First of all, that is so incredibly unhealthy for her body. Did they say that they continued asking for 30 minutes? Look, I know how annoying it is for a kid to ask like in the middle of directions, and when you're asking a question, they raise their hand and don't answer the question. They just have to go to the bathroom. I get it. I've never made a kid hold it for 30 minutes. That is cruel. I've definitely told a kid before, hey, right now I'm giving instructions. Can you wait 2 minutes just so I can finish the instructions and you can hear them? That I've done before, and that I think is reasonable. Now, of course, if a kid was like, no, this is an emergency, I'd be like, okay, go, you go ahead. 30 minutes? Absolutely not. And then you kept telling her no and got mad when she had an accident. This isn't a kid that's being potty trained. This is a middle schooler you made hold so long that she had an accident. And you got mad at her because you told her no? There's just nothing okay about that story. I had a teacher call me to her desk scolding me for using obscene and vulgar language in my essay. I was very confused and asked her, "Can you please show me where I did that?" She pointed to the word plethora. I'm not sure what she thought the word plethora meant, but she genuinely thought it was a bad word. I had to Google it to her and show her the real definition.
Well, that's embarrassing.
I don't know what she would have thought it was either. Does anyone have an idea? Sometimes you look at a word on a piece of paper and you're like, wow, that doesn't look like it's spelled right, and it's spelled 100% correct. Or sometimes you look at a word and you're like, that's spelled correctly, and it's not. And sometimes you look at a word and it just registers as something completely different. It happens, okay? I don't know what she would have thought plethora was. I don't want to ask people to write obscenities in the comment section, but I really want to know what she would have thought it was. So like, tell me without telling me. That's what I want you guys to do. We had a teacher who would take off his shoes and socks while lecturing and cut his toenails. Sometimes pieces would just land on our desks and he would ask us to brush them off the floor. Sir, I don't want to be touching your toenail clippings.
Hashtag gross.
No. That man needs to be told immediately to stop. That's nasty. We had a hamster as a class pet, and one day it inevitably, and I can't say the word, and we had a hamster as a class pet, and one day he inevitably passed away. And dang it! We had a funeral for it and everything, and our teacher taught us about grief. The weird part, though, was at the end, he flushed the hamster down the toilet.
Oh, that's real nice.
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now as an adult, I know you don't do that. Hamster down the toilet? You can do fish, but a hamster? Does that even fit? That is gonna be an expensive plumbing bill. I'm just speechless that a grown adult decided it would be a good idea to flush a rodent down the toilet. That's not a thing, right? I'm not crazy. Plumbers, help me out. That's not a thing, right? We had a male teacher who would just hold himself while he lectured the class. It was very uncomfortable for me, a teenage girl who was sitting right in the front row and couldn't just not see it. There should be some kind of self-awareness where you just know what you're doing and where you're touching yourself. Or not. We can just not. That's a really good option. To not. In no workplace would that ever be appropriate. How do you go through life not understanding how to be aware of what you're doing with your hands? How has a parent not complained about that yet? Our teacher used to spend way too much of our class time confessing his love for the teacher next door and talking about how he had a plan to split her and her husband up. Why are so many of these adults over-involving these kids in their personal lives? We have no sympathy for home wreckers on this channel. Does he think the kids are like cheering him on? I hope they're not. It's not the flex you think it is to be in that weird kind of triangle of unfaithfulness. Stop thinking that's gonna impress kids. It's not. I had undiagnosed ADHD for most of my childhood, so I would space out a lot. During one of those times, my teacher literally yelled at me in front of everybody. Jessica, quit daydreaming about Connor, okay? We all know you have a big crush on him, okay? But right now, math. Math is what's important, not your crush on Connor, okay? I was mortified. I hate that. I had a teacher do the exact same thing to me in 5th grade. I also had undiagnosed ADHD for most of my life, and I would space out and people would just think I was being careless or whatever. And I remember my 5th grade teacher telling my parents in a conference,
Well, maybe if she spent less time daydreaming about this boy, she would have better grades.
And yes, he used his actual name and he just straight up told my parents that I liked this kid in our class. And I was mortified and I still remember that moment to this day. Because that stuff matters and it sticks with kids. And no, for those of you wondering, he did not like me back. It's fine. That's just not cool. I know as a teacher, you can tell who likes who, especially with younger kids. On that note, oh, I used to get asked all the time, do you ship kids? And for those of you that don't know what shipping kids is, it's when teachers kind of try to play matchmaker, or they're like, oh, I know this person likes this person, so I'm gonna send them next to each other. Or, oh, I think this person would look cute with that person, so I'm gonna send them together. Why am I, as a grown adult, meddling in the love lives of children? That just feels icky to me. There are kids who are humiliated by that stuff, me included. That scarred me for life. I've never forgot that moment. Why would I meddle into a kid's life like that when I know how much it devastated me? If you do it, that's your business, but I think shipping kids is weird and creepy. I feel like this episode was so different because there are so many of them that kids or parents or someone not in teaching would hear and they'd be like, wow, that is such a weird teacher. What a creeper. What an oddball. But me having experience in teaching, I'm like, no, that checks out. That makes sense. As always, I want to hear which one of these stories you thought was the most ridiculous. I'm going to put mine in the comments. I want to read yours too. And I'm getting better with Reddit. I actually had someone from Reddit try to teach me how to run it a little bit. So I do have a subreddit for this series also. It is r/wecan'tmakethisstuffup. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I always have a good time with you guys. And the next time I see you guys, Halloween will be over. So I hope if you're going trick-or-treating or you're taking a younger person out trick-or-treating, I hope the skies are clear. I hope you have a great night. Lots of bonding and laughter and candy. And I'll see you guys next week for the start of November. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.